sitting around for like 45 minutes and waiting, and start by talking with somebody very fucking special who we all came to see. I always loved the character of Bucky as a kid. When I heard they were making the movie, I was like, gee, I wonder if they'll put Bucky in it. And they did put Bucky in it, and they found a way to do it where it wasn't creepy, where an adult was putting a child in harm's way. So they were a couple of friends who were in the service together, and that is at the core of these Captain America movies, is that friendship. As we've seen, each one of those movies, the friendship between Steve and Bucky is central and kind of like what the character of Steve Rogers in the movies has been built upon. So Chris Evans don't get to be as wonderful as he is in those movies without leaning on the support of his bestest buddy in the world in these flicks. And when I saw the movie, first time I saw Captain America: First Avenger, I had no idea we would go on the journey that we went and we'd watch Bucky grow up to be the Winter Soldier. Here to talk about his journey and talk about these flicks that we all love so much. Give it up for Bucky Barnes himself, ladies and gentlemen. Sebastian!
Yes.
What's the, don't be weird. Sit right here, man.
It's a couch.
Come on closer. It's not like we're in a movie theater. I'm like, you sit over there. How are you, sir?
No, I'm good. I'm just saying this couch is big for 3. But of course, there's only one. You know, I'm the only one here because, of course, you know, Tom Holland is 2 hours behind. 2 hours behind. And he's not going to be here with me, so I wonder why that is.
He doesn't like sharing the stage with you?
No, he doesn't. But I actually heard a rumor from Joe that said, you know, that he was like, Holland doesn't want to have any scenes in the movie with you and Mac. And I was like, come on, that's a joke. Like, you know, the whole thing's a joke. But, you know, there might be some truth to it. I don't know.
It was after that first experience in Civil War. He's like, I'm done with these guys.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that might have been it, or just any of the other times we walked into each other, sort of, you know, like on the, you know, on the lot or on set or whatever. He doesn't, you know, he just seems to be very after his own needs.
He's not looking after Bucky's needs.
No, he's looking at the Downey camp and wondering, when am I going to have that camp? That's kind of what he's like. Anyway.
We're going to tell him when he comes out here and see if he cries.
Please do.
Take us back to the beginning, man. When you first find out you're going to be in Captain America: First Avenger, did they tell you this character could keep going? Was there plans at that point?
Yeah, I mean, they did talk about that, but it was a very strange kind of conversation because there was nothing definitive about it. You know, it was just sort of like, look, we'd like to see this go that way one day if we're lucky enough and the movies do well. And I was like, great, sounds great. Let's do it. But yeah, I didn't necessarily think that was what was going to happen. You know, it was good that they told me because I kind of was trying to think about the future when we were shooting that first movie and just hopefully lay in some stuff that may kind of, you know, you may be able to track later in the movies in the character.
So when you were shooting First Avenger, like, and Bucky dies,
yeah,
for all like intents and purposes, there was no guarantee you'd come back. You're like, this could actually be my death scene.
Well, you know, I had a little guarantee, I think I've said this before, where like the first time I fell off the train, I did only have the one arm. You know, like I had, you know, like a green sleeve, meaning that they were going to do something with it. And I was like, oh, this is good. That means that we could probably maybe, you know, that's where it's going to go. And then we ended up reshooting that scene without the green sleeve. And I was like, oh, maybe I am dead.
Apparently, I'm not Bucky as much as I sucky, and they cut me out of the movie. So when do you find out though that they're like, hey man, next movie, your character is right in the title with the main character?
Well, I'm pretty sure the way I found out about that title was a friend of mine called me from Comic-Con and said, dude, you're in the movie. And I was like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, because the title is your character's in the title. And that's how I found out.
What was it like? I mean, as an actor, I'm sure you were never going like, man, I want to be in like big blockbusters, but it eventually happened. What is it like when somebody's like, you're going from playing a very supporting character in the first movie to it's going to be your movie, you're co-sharing that movie the second time around?
Well, I mean, you know, it's probably like a lot of pressure or whatnot. You know, you definitely feel scared. I mean, I certainly was. You know, I don't. But you know, you rise up to the challenge. I mean, it's good to be scared, right? Like I feel like it's a good thing, and there was a real opportunity there for me, and in the sense of like kind of taking the character in that direction, and so I welcomed it, you know. But again, I'm used to it now, but I don't usually kind of know where they're gonna take that situation. You know, I didn't even know what happened in the last movie until we were shooting.
Really? Because I spoke to Elizabeth and to Paul Bettany, Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany this morning, and we were talking about the ending of Infinity War, and they said that like the Russos pulled them into a van, and right before they shot the scene, they were like, "This is the ending of the movie." That's how they found out about it. Did you get the van treatment as well?
I know the van they're talking about. I didn't. I said I'm not going in that van.
If you were raised right, you had smart parents.
I was like, I want to be around people when they tell me this. But yeah, it was like, this is when you disappear. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, really? Or, you know, I don't know. I mean, so yeah, it was right on the day. But kind of amazing, though, the Russos, if you think about it. Like, you have, I guess it works for my character to be in the dark, you know, in a way, because he sort of is in the dark. But just the way that they were able to put that movie together, you know, it's fascinating. I mean, it was kind of exciting for all of us because when we were sitting there at the premiere, we really were seeing it for the first time.
Especially something as sprawling as that. Like Winter Soldier, I imagine it's easier to keep track of as you're making that movie because like you're in almost like every scene. But something like Infinity War, you know, you're like, wait, we're in Wakanda, what's going on in space? They're like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it was, yeah, which is kind of what, you know, the character sort of got as a message anyway. It was like, you're needed again, and so if you want to gain anybody's trust, like, better go with the flow, you know.
A movie like this, in terms of other performances an actor gets to do, a lot of it is physical. You know there's going to be a lot of action and whatnot. So how long in advance, I've always wondered, everyone in these movies are impeccably in shape. And sooner or later, they're like, take your shirt off. And we get to see dudes with their shirts off, which always makes me feel bad. He's not going to take his shirt off.
They're not asking Anthony Mackie to take his shirt off. You know, he's up on those wires anyway. But I love it.
How long before the movie begins do you have to start getting in shape, getting physical? Or is that normal part of your regime anyway? Or do you have to double it up when you're doing a Marvel movie?
You know, look, it just kind of becomes like an all-around routine, because when you're not working, that's kind of what you're doing, you know what I mean, for your sanity. But, yeah, it depends. I mean, you definitely start out with a goal, and then kind of when you start shooting, it's just, you know, there's no way that you're going to make it to that gym like at 4 in the morning. I mean, you still try, but after you shoot all day, you know, you're sweating a lot. You're like losing actually a lot of weight. So by the end of the movie, I think everybody kind of is at least 10 pounds less than when they start.
Is that right? Like making one of these Marvel movies is a good way to lose weight?
It kind of is, because here's the thing. If you're shooting in Atlanta, it's like really hot down there. And then you're strapped into these, you know, like really tight outfits, and you know, like you're moving constantly, running around. I mean, you're just your body's like a furnace, so it's just burning, and then you know, I mean, you know, we all go through some stress when you're.
Bro, look at me. I never lose weight. On movies, it's the opposite. I gain 10, 15 pounds because I'm like, this looks good. and it's free, I'll take it.
I've definitely done the crafty stuff, because you're waiting around too, so that's the other thing, you're always waiting around, and that part, I know what you're saying, but fortunately with these, I think it's just the moving around, and you kind of start, having like a lot of, you're sort of like, your ego is pretty high, because you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do these stunts, I'm gonna do as much as I can, I'll do it. But then, when you're doing it on the 18th take, your body is like kind of wrecked by that point, So
That's when you're like, bring in that stunt person, please.
they might bring them a lot earlier than that, but they're also like the best of guys. I mean, those guys really make those action sequences. I mean, they just, Sam Hargrave and James Young were just unbelievable, all the way back to the Winter Soldier. I mean, they in a way really reinvented sort of the Captain America kind of fighting style.
Yeah. Particularly that second one, man.
Yeah.
It's badass when he just hits the boat in the beginning and just takes everybody out. There have been 3 Captain America movies, and you've been in each one of them. You gotta have a favorite. Which one? Is it Winter Soldier?
Yeah, I really like that one. I mean, that one has...
It's got a lot of Sebastian in it, so yeah.
Winter Soldier? No, I mean, the Civil War does. I mean, but Winter Soldier was cryptic and kind of like strange, and the whole process for that was a lot of fun for me. I actually really, I'm saying this and like they'll be like, great, perfect, let's never write a line for him again. But like, I didn't have a lot of lines in that movie. It was just all kind of like trying to tell a story physically, and it's interesting. It was interesting in a different way, I guess.
That's true. I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, you had way more dialogue in Civil War than you had in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier was like, who the hell is Bucky?
That's it. And you're like haunted by that line. I mean, like I was like haunted for a long time. I really think I was going in circles forever. Like who the hell is Bucky? Like just.
Well, because you're like, I got one line in the movie, I got to get it right.
Yeah, it's like The Aviator. You're like, show me the blueprint. Show me the blueprint. Like, who the hell?
That's a deep cuts reference. Excellent pull on The Aviator, man. All right, take us into the world of making the Marvel movies. Who are you friendly with? Who do you spend a lot of time with on set? Who's your buddy?
I mean, I think Anthony and Chris obviously were, were the guys I'm the closest to, and that I've spent the most time with, and I genuinely feel like we could not talk for a year and we'd pick it right up, like it just nothing happened. But Paul Bettany's become a friend, and also I just love interacting with him. Anything I ever, I had like 2 scenes with him barely in the last movie, and I just, I loved every minute of it. And then, everybody, like Chadwick's actually really funny as well. He has a sense of humor that like maybe you don't see right away, but he's really funny, and it's just a good group of people. Honestly, I don't know. Paul Rudd is, can't keep a straight face around him. A lot of great people.
It's awesome to hear like you just call him Chadwick. Like the rest of us are like Chadwick Boseman. You're like Chadwick, and you can just leave it right there because you're like, I actually know the Black Panther.
Yeah. Well, when I first really, in Civil War, like he actually, he was kind of doing his, he may have done the same thing in Black Panther, but he was actually kind of doing like a little bit of a method acting situation. He was not really interacting very much with people. He was off on his own.
Oh, really? So
yeah,
like the character, he was like,
I was like, so we weren't really talking very much. And I remember on that rooftop scene, like in Civil War, that we were kind of going head to head. Like he and I didn't really exchange a lot of words, and all I remember is just that mask just coming at me. It's like these long arms just sweeping, at me. So maybe it was effective. I don't know. He's a really, really, really talented.
Take us into the airport sequence in Civil War, which is one of the greatest comic book sequences ever put to film. There's like 928 superheroes in the scene, so it's like a real clusterfuck. What was it like to shoot? Like, did it take place over the course of weeks or?
Yeah, months. I mean, it was
really
months. It was always coming back to it. There was always another sequence in that whole bit that we hadn't shot yet or needed to go back to. And, but surreal. When you did have a little bit of downtime, I mean, everybody was there interacting and kind of, you know, you didn't always get everybody there, but the few days that you did, there were a couple shots that really had everybody, like the lineups, you know, and that was pretty special. I mean, you didn't want to be, you know, I was always concerned like I was going to be the slowest runner, and so like I really was like, I can't be like the last guy getting across. But
So making a Marvel movie is just like high school gym.
1,000%, yes, it is.
Like, I'm not letting Evans beat me.
No, I mean, it gets a little bit like that, you know? Like, I mean, you didn't have Hemsworth, so that was a plus, right? 'Cause, I mean, he gets on set, you're like, I don't know why I even go to the gym. Like, why would I even do that? I guess it's mental strength. You know, like, he's just...
You're like, I'm not even Hemsworthy enough to be here.
Definitely not. I mean, he's insane. It's amazing.
During the course of making these movies, a lot of physicality. Do you ever get hurt? Ever get injured?
Oh, yeah, for sure. You're always you're always getting some hit, and you don't really know until much later because the adrenaline is really high, and you know you're in the middle of it. You want to keep doing it, but it's usually the next day when you're kind of trying to get out of bed and you can't. You know that like things you feel it. Yeah.
At that point, you're just like, fuck Marvel. Or you work through it and you're like, the money's good.
Yeah, you're like, I like my job. No, yeah, you're always grateful, of course. I mean, but I think the thing is, you remember what it's like when you were little. You know, it's that Cowboys and Indians thing. It's that sort of like that never leaves you in a way. You go to work and then you go, wow, like this is something that this is my job or whatever. But you want to try and sell that fight as best as you can, and you can't really sell it without once in a while,
Taking a
landing
hit.
something.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch it, you know, I've having worked in production, I know they edit it and stuff like that, and I know they throw fake punches, but sometimes those cats go at each other so hard, you're like, they had to have connected.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's happened a million times.
What is your best memory of making a Marvel movie so far? Happiest moment, best day on set? Or in post? Because selling the movies, it seems like you guys have a lot of fun going out on the press circuit and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never been on a world press tour for anything before. That was pretty special. Just going to different places and going to Asia for the first time is still like a big memory for me because I'd never been. And you go there and you see how everybody's so excited about the movies over there, and then same in Europe, and just the way that they're resonating globally. It just kind of, you never get over that. You don't get tired of that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's like, going home at night and just feeling like you're part of a good goal. Like everybody's on the same page. You want to make the best possible product. The thing that you can. So and people are looking out for you that way. So it's it doesn't feel like, as sometimes in movies, it can be more of a toxic environment. You can be in an environment where you feel like people are competitive, or it's weird or something, and other than trying to run fast, you don't really feel that, everyone's on the same team with this one.
All right, I'm going to open it up to these cats because I know they want to know some stuff. There are 2 microphones right there, and people are jumping up to them right now. Most of them, about 98% of them are women staring like this. We're going to start right over on this side. What's your name?
Hi, Sebastian. Oh my gosh. My name is Crystal.
Don't let the mic break your nose. That's the first thing. Everyone give it up for Crystal, ladies and gentlemen. Crystal, what do you need to know?
Well, first of all, I love you.
I love you too.
What's the worst part about being an actor? Like, what's the worst thing that happens?
Worst thing that happens to being an actor? Oh God. I mean, probably, falling in love with a project and then not seeing it happen or having it fall apart, like right before you're shooting. I mean, that's happened to me a few times. but you know, or hearing the word no, you know, like over and over again. I mean, that happens a lot too.
A lot of rejection. In
You
that
do,
business.
yeah, you have it, but there's a way to kind of come, you know, use that in a way to get you to come back, you know, in a way stronger or something.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, don't worry
I
about
have a
that.
question. What's it like working with Robert Downey Jr.?
I mean, you know, it's just like, the guy's a legend. I don't know. I grew up on like Chaplin and all those movies. I mean, it's just, you know, you never know with him. Like you're always gonna end up having a real reaction, you know, because you just don't know what's gonna come at you. He's so quick and witted, and you know, in the moment, it just like it always amazes you. But yeah.
How close does he stay to the page? I've always wondered, because it sounds like he ad-libs a lot of his dialogue. But is it, or am I wrong? Is it?
He does and he doesn't. I mean, like he'll do it a few times, I think. That's the thing. Like he says it so naturally that you go, was that even written? Or, you know. But once he's done it a few times, like I feel like he can't help himself. He's got to like do something different, you know, each time. So I guess he keeps it new, you know, that kind of thing.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Love you. Love you.
What's your name?
Oh, my name is Zenya.
Everyone give it up for
Zenya.
Zenya. Zenya, talk to the Winter Soldier.
I was wondering if you wanted to look at my sketch.
I would gladly look at your sketchbook. Come find me after? Is that what you said?
Can somebody, you want to pass it up here while we answer the next question? We can use everybody to just pass it forward. And if you don't get it back, Sebastian stole it.
That's fine as well.
Send it up, we'll get it into his hands. Meanwhile, we'll jump over here and then we'll jump back to you for a review of your portfolio. But over here, what's your name over here?
I'm Jasmine.
Everyone give it up for Jasmine. Jasmine, what do you want to know? Ask him.
If Bucky got hold of the Infinity Gauntlet, what do you think he'd do with it?
It's a great question.
That is a great question. There's only one place he'd go, which is back in time. You know, yeah, he'd probably go back in time, right? Try to fix all the things he's done wrong for starters. You know, maybe not get on that train. I don't know. This is really great, by the way. I think I'm like, oh my God, hello.
Ooh, that's nice. Flip it. It's this way. That's legit, man. I know you didn't ask me,
A lot
but
of
excellent job.
complex things going on in there. Oh my God,
Beautiful.
you're very talented. Wow.
Is that
Nice
Loki
recurring
as
theme.
a snake? Is that the moment where he grabs a snake and he's like, he turned into a snake and then he stabbed me?
Yeah.
Excellent interpretation.
Thank
Each
you.
one of these pictures is like my worst nightmare. Pretty much. Wow.
There's a Sharpie you can tag. You want him to tag the book for you while he's got it?
Sure.
Just
Why not?
grade it. All right.
I think it's on the back of the book. There it is. Meanwhile, he wrote, I drew this.
I know. Oh, the telephone booth. This is really great.
Excellent job. We'll get the
Keep
book
drawing.
back.
Don't stop.
Meanwhile, we'll jump over here. Hey, what's your name?
I'm Joey. Hi.
Everyone give it up for Joey.
Okay.
Joey, what do you need to know?
So before I ask my question, my brother is a huge fan of the Captain America franchise. He has like a group that he cosplays with, all of his friends, and he's Captain America. and his best friend Nathaniel is Bucky, obviously. So I was wondering if you could like just give a quick hello to my brother and his best friend Nathaniel. Okay.
Hello.
Hold on. Okay, come on. I didn't play before. Okay.
Also, you might want to look there.
Right here. Okay.
Hello. Nathaniel and the brother.
Thank you. That'd be so cool. Okay, cool.
See you on this couch.
Okay, so my question is, so I fell in love with you first when I saw you as Jefferson in Once Upon a Time. By the way, I love you. Hi.
I love you too.
Okay, so you play a lot of these characters that deal with a lot of these like heavy
Issues.
but seriously, they deal with a lot of like hard emotions, and it's sometimes difficult as an actor to reach that place, and sometimes it's hard to come back from that. So I'm kind of wondering, actor to actor, how do you not let the negative emotions that you portray in your characters affect you and kind of translate over into who, like you? So how do you keep those two things separate? Because you're always like this happy puppy.
Wow. Well, that's.
Well, happy
That's
puppy, what do
troubling.
you say?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I'm a happy puppy all the time, but look, I mean, no one really is, right? Like, I think you have to try to not isolate yourself. You know, I mean, I think that's it's who you keep around, you know, in your life. That's why it's so important, your family and your friends, and like who you trust, and you know, you can't lose that sort of sense of ground that is you, separate. You know, that is you yourself, and I guess I just, you know, if I'm away somewhere on set or you know, I always try to check in with people, and it's okay to check in, you know, like, I think people are so scared sometimes to admit that, like, hey, I'm not having a great day, like what's up, what's going on, like, I think it's okay to say that, if, you know, and one of your good friends is going to listen to you and call you back, you know, so please tell people when you're not having a great day.
Thank you so much.
That's what I do, I guess.
I'm going to ask
Thank you.
a quick question about when you play Bucky, you're playing a character that carries expectation with you. Because people are like, I've been reading this character in the book since I was a kid and stuff. So there's a certain amount of pressure there, but there's freedom because nobody knows what Bucky sounds like until they put him on film for the first time with you. So you get to kind of set the tone. But recently you were in I, Tonya, right? And so in that case, you had to play a person that the world knew. Like, as somebody who's well documented on film and stuff like that. What was the difficulty level like in that versus like Marvel stuff?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that has its own like weird expectations in its own way. I mean, I expectations, it's like, that's like the biggest enemy, like no matter how you cut it, that word, you know? But I think it's you have no choice but to like almost, it's more mechanical, like, you know, I just watched everything I could on the guy over and over. I like listened to any audio I had of him over and over and over again until I could just feel like it was a little bit becoming more like, you know, sounding more a little bit like myself or something. But it's tough because you have to adjust to something that already exists. But sometimes that's good too, because at least you know where you're going, you know? I mean, even Bucky had source material. But in the movies, which is what you said at the beginning, you know, in the comic books, he was like a kid, or he was like sort of this.
Yeah, there's really nothing
thing.
you can go
and then they came in and they were like, you know what, we're gonna have him more like a bigger brother. We're gonna have him be sort of like this guy who may or may not have wanted to enlist, and like it had a different sort of. It's its own pros and cons, I think.
All right, we jump over to this side. Hey, what's your name?
I'm Diego.
Give it up for Diego. Diego, Sebastian,
going,
yours.
Hi, what's up?
Nothing much.
How's the German Shepherd?
The German Shepherd is great. His name's Ridian. Hey there. As a gay man, I've really appreciated when you've played gay characters. Do you feel like you're ever going to go back into doing an LGBT character?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like, I don't, you know, I would in a second. It's always about the, you know, the script. It's always about the storytelling. I mean, it's always about like, you know, what obstacles a character has in their life and what they're trying to get through, and that doesn't matter whether, you know, we're all fighting against something, or we're all, you know, facing one thing we want to change or we want to get better at or whatever. So that's universal, you know, and it's just about having the right story. But you know, if it happens, why not?
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no worries.